Patnaik, we call him Asini Vai, wanted me to talk. I thought, talking about acute renal failure, CAPD, dialysis is very common. Let's take up something which is important, which all of us should know, and which I am interested in. How do it move?
Down.
Okay. Okay. Later. Okay, sorry. See, whenever a patient gets end-stage renal disease, meaning thereby his own kidneys, Dr. Prani, you can come and join here. His own kidneys are not good enough to sustain life or give a qualitative life. We have three modalities of treatment to offer: transplantation, CAPD, and hemodialysis. Out of this, transplantation is the best because it gives better survival, better quality of life, and it is less expensive. Studies in US, they have shown if there is a death rate on dialysis, patient on dialysis is 16.1 per 100 patient years. The disease donor transplantation, that is cadaveric donor transplantation, the death rate is 3.8 per 100 patient years. It's less than 1/4 of that. And in live donor transplantation, it is still less. Whenever we do a transplant, suppose this is a patient on dialysis waiting for the transplant and his mortality rate is here. When you do a transplant, initial 4 months, there is a higher mortality because of infection, because of rejection, because of cardiac causes. And then it starts coming down. It equalizes at around 7 months. And after that, transplantation is always gives a better and longer life. But for transplant, we need organs, we need kidneys. There is a dramatic shortage of available organ. It's all over the world, not only in India. And that is why we have attempted to cross previously forbidden immunological boundaries in kidney transplantation. One area where one can donate kidney is a relative, own relative, but 30% of potential related donors cannot donate kidney because of a different blood group or different cross-match. Cross-match is positive. I'll tell what is the cross-match. So how do we increase the number of donors? We can accept marginal donors, the donors which are not being accepted earlier, we can take them. We can use living unrelated donors, which is not ethical, not moral, so we should avoid it. One can go for a swap exchange, what the chairman told. I'll talk in detail about it. Nowadays we are doing ABO incompatible transplantation and transplantation across cross-match positivity. And of course one can do disease extended donor for cadaveric transplantation, which is not done mostly in India, more so in the Eastern India. So who are the marginal donors? See, earlier days, if a donor has hypertension, we are not accepting it. But nowadays it is seen, if there is only small increase in proteinuria if you take a hypertensive donor, provided his hypertension is mild and he is controlled with one antihypertensive. So donor who has mild hypertension, who is controlled with one antihypertensive can be taken out. Similarly, aged donors, earlier days people were taking less than 60-year-old donors. But studies have shown that older donors is slightly inferior than the less than 60-year-old donors as far as the kidney function of the recipient goes. We in our hospital accept up to 69 without much of problem, and we have seen the results are good. And the donor who is 60 or above 65 or even above 70 do not have any problem in a longer run. Multiple studies have shown that. Obesity, yes, if the BMI is more than 31.6 kg per square meter, it's the problem. It should not be accepted because they have longer run problem of proteinuria and renal failure. So I am out as a donor, I am not a donor. Smoking can occasionally cause proteinuria. So if the donor is a smoker, we try to counsel him, we try to tell him to avoid smoking, but we accept them. Drug abusers, unless they are counseled well, they are contraindicated, and especially if they are taking heroin and cocaine, because it can cause renal impairment. What about the renal stones in donor? If there is renal dysfunction and multiple stones, they are excluded. But if there is one or two small stones which is size is less than 1.5 centimeter, they are accepted. Proteinuria, whenever there is a proteinuria, we try to do a renal biopsy to exclude any renal problem, significant renal problem. Only orthostatic proteinuria, which is a benign condition where you stand up and you get little proteinuria, they are accepted. Hematuria needs complete evaluation, because hematuria can be because of IgA nephropathy, can be because of urological reasons. If there is a treatable urological reason, they can be accepted as donor. What about a recipient, a patient who has a disease which is a familial disease, whether the donor can donate, his brother or father can donate, who may have the disease later on. The ADPKD, autosomal dominant polycystic kidney disease, it's one of the most common genetic kidney disease. And normally, if a person is above 30 and if you do ultrasound and there is no cyst, to diagnose ADPKD, you need to have 2 cysts in one kidney and at least 1 cyst in the contralateral kidney. So if he has no cyst, then he can be excluded that he will never have ADPKD or polycystic kidney, and he can give the kidney. Under 30, above 20, ultrasound is good, but it doesn't give 100% assurance, so you need to do a MRI to exclude that. Alport syndrome is a genetic disease where you get hematuria, proteinuria and deafness and renal failure. If somebody has hematuria, proteinuria or deafness, who is a relative and wants to donate kidney, he is excluded. He cannot donate because he is likely to get a renal problem in future. However, if a middle-aged relative of a Alport syndrome who has just hematuria, he is a carrier because he has not suffered by middle age, so he can donate. Sickle cell disease patients are not allowed to donate, but if there is a threat and there is no renal problem, they can donate. What about the physical anomalies of the donors? If there are cysts are normal above 40 age, above age of 40. So if there is a simple cyst, 1 or 2, they can donate. If there is a small cancer, recently we did a patient donor who had a very small renal cell carcinoma. If it is less than 2 centimeter in size, we can take it out, and talking to the relative, talking to the patient and donor, we can accept him as a donor. Arterial anomalies, we are able to do now 3 arteries. If there are 3 arteries, it's little surgically, it's difficult, but it can be done. But beyond that, probably we will not accept. Fibromuscular dysplasia is a condition where you can get renal hypertension, and it is not a contraindication if there is no renal failure. Now, something which is very close to me is paired exchange transplantation. What is paired exchange transplantation? Suppose there is a recipient A and he has a blood group of A, and his donor has a blood group of B, so he cannot donate to the recipient here. And there is another couple where the recipient has blood group B and donor has A. So what we do is we exchange, this donor gives kidney to this recipient and this donor to this recipient. So this is a simple paired exchange donor or swap donor transplantation. There can be 3 pair exchanges. Say there is a recipient here whose blood group is A, donor is B. Here the recipient is A and donor is also A, but there is a cross-match positivity. Cross-match positivity means the recipient has already antibodies against the HLA of the donor, so if you give the kidney, it will get rejected. And there is another couple where the recipient is, say, B and donor is A, so they can't donate. So this donor gives to this recipient, this donor to this recipient, and this donor to this recipient. So you can have 3 lives, you can save 3 lives by this kind of pairing. So there is another kind of pairing which is called Domino's pairing, where Similar things, but here we add a altruistic donor, somebody who is not donating to the relative, who is a friend or an altruistic donor. He donates to the recipient and he is donor to another recipient. So the whole chain goes. It can be 7, it can be 10, it can be 14. So this is a Domino's transplant. Recently Bombay did one Domino's for 7 transplants. This concept was first started in 1986 by Rappaport. And I told you where we do this. It is done in abio-incompatible patients, in cross-match positive patients. It's nowadays also done for better HLMH and matching of age, gender, sex, etc. There are computer programs available for that. We have a large transplant unit. We do more than 200 transplants per year, and we have already done around 1100 transplants in last 7 years. We in India did the first paired donor exchange transplantation in 2006, and between 2 families of Odisha, a mother and son couple from Cuttack and a husband and wife from Baleswar. And it was followed by 12 more such paired exchanges. So total 26 transplants we have done by paired exchanges. And the percentage is 2.355 of our total transplant population. And we have done this across the states, across the religion, across the economic situation, across the place without any problem. Out of total 26 transplants, 2 pairs are from Odisha, 2 from West Bengal, 2 from between Jharkhand and West Bengal, 2 from Bihar and Jharkhand, 1 each between Bihar, West Bengal, Assam, Bihar, Assam, UP, Assam, Jharkhand and Odisha and West Bengal. And our graft survival and patient survival is as good as our other transplants. 47 months graft survival, that means kidneys are functioning in 88.5% and the patient survival is 92%, which is pretty good. This is our first paired transplant. This boy was in 10th class. This gentleman was a medical representative from Baleswar, husband and wife, mother and son. So his wife gave to this boy and his mother gave to this gentleman. Now he is an engineer in Cuttack, and this man has become a medicine distributor. Both have progressed renally as well as economically. And when we did the second one between 2 religions, Hindu, Muslim, it was a national news. In all leading newspapers brought it out in the front page. Initial days I used to keep all our paired donor transplants, but I have lost interest lately. This transplantation actually brings 2 people from absolutely different positions or different situations. See, the last one we did, here is a gentleman who is a doctorate, a professor in economics from Patna University. He is a rich man, he is a Hindu Brahmin and from a urban place, Patna. Here is a Muslim couple from rural Jharkhand, very poor, uneducated. This couple were with me waiting for a transplantation because blood group was not matching, and this couple came to me, so we did one. In fact, this man helped economically and morally this couple, and they had a successful transplantation. And actually they develop a bonding. I've seen after 6 years, a patient, Assam couple and a couple from Bihar, they have transplanted. They will talk to each other and come for follow-ups same time. So they develop a family bonding for a long time. What are the advantages of swap? Standard immunosuppressions with excellent results. No ethical problem because there is no exchange of money. It increases kidney pool. There is an emotional benefit. If I am not able to give to my wife, at least indirectly I am giving to my wife the kidney. And it checks commercial transplantation and can be used in highly sensitized patients beside AB or mismatch groups. Disadvantages are psychological stress for the donor and family because he is not giving to his own relative. Possible conflicts between or within donors and recipient families if in the event of discrepancy. Suppose one's creatinine is 2 and the other's creatinine is 0.9, they may have some problems. He got a better kidney, I got an inferior kidney. But if you have counseled well, this does not happen. Less opportunity for blood O group recipient because O group recipient will need a O donor and O donor can give to anybody. So it's very difficult for a O recipient to get a swap donor in swap. What we do for O recipient, we do a abio-incompatible transplant. logistic complexity of the transaction because you have to talk to so many people, you have to take ethical permission from so many state governments, so it becomes difficult. And at the same time, you have to do both the surgery at the same time. So there may be little technical difficulties. Now the other one is ABO incompatible transplant. Earlier days, people were not doing ABO incompatible transplants because there was rejection. There was very bad results. See, if we have to do a transplant, if the recipient is O group, he has only to receive blood donor from O group. He cannot receive from AB or A, B or AB. AB group being a universal recipient, he can get from anybody. A can get from O or A, B can get from O or B. So you cannot do across blood group transplants. It was there in earlier days, but nowadays there are methods available by doing plasmapheresis, by using drugs like IV immunoglobulin, rituximab, earlier days splenectomy, and usual immunosuppression like tacrolimus, mycophenolate, and methylprednisolone. We can do successful ABO incompatible transplant. The best group to do ABO is A2. A2 is almost like O. So A2 donor and O recipient is very good. But B is then and A1 is very, very difficult. So, but we do A, B and A2 blood groups. A2 is very uncommon. Then if there is previous transplant, there is sensitization, there is high risk donor recipient pairs, then there is a problem with ABO incompatible transplant. And if we compare the region, the results, see, these are ABO incompatible transplant, these are ABO mismatch transplant. In 81, 84, almost, after the transplant, the kidney gets rejected within 1 year. It was so poor. So it has improved over the period, and in 2000 to 2003, it is around 85% kidney survival. After 1 year, the kidney will be surviving in 85%. Now it is still better. It has come better. And in ABO compatible, it is always relatively better if you see. Same graph. These are ABO incompatible, where the patient survival and kidney survival is slightly inferior than the ABO compatible. 96, 97%, here 83, 91%. We did our first ABO incompatible on 13th April. This was the first in Eastern India. And we have done already 4 ABO incompatible. All of them are doing very, very well. This also came out in the paper. Then comes cross-match positive transplants. It's a very difficult area, and one can do by making them negative. I'll not go into that high technical methods where how we do it, but it is possible. But the problem is it's very expensive, and the graft survival is poorer. So normally, if there is a cross-match positivity, if there is a ABO incompatibility, we do a paired exchange donor transplant. If there is O group recipient where we can't do a paired exchange, we go for a ABO incompatible transplant. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Roy. Now the topic is open to audience for any query, question, and clarifications.